Hello, I just got in. This is
Okay.
Gina.
Hi, Gina.
I had a really hard time getting in. I'm on,
We all did.
oh my gosh, I'm on the very old computer right now, so it's not the best. I thought it was my other computer.
Gina, no, it's a lot of people. The same thing happened to me, and I believe Sonia tried to log in as well. I don't know if she did it already, but something is going on. It's not only you.
Okay, good, good. How are you?
Yeah,
Great.
we all
Sonia
had a
is
hard
logged
time.
in, but she's muted. She says that for whatever reason, you can't hear her.
Who?
Oh,
Sonia
Sony?
Iglesias. She's in, but she can't. Her mic's not working.
She don't have no sound.
Correct.
Okay. Can we have the roll call, Jared? Is Jerry in?
It's 2022, babes.
Yeah, welcome to
A
2022.
lot of persistence. I tell you, I got through 4 of my computers. I went even through my oldest computer I had.
Let me mute myself. I'm laughing too much.
Jesus. It's like-
Okay. I don't know if Jared's having difficulty, but our new borough president is on, and we're gonna hear from him. So let's all give our new borough president, borough president Antonio Reynoso, a big Williamsburg welcome.
Antonio.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? It's so nice to see everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to first say, welcome to the first community board meeting of the year. I want to thank Chair Fuller for introducing me, and I know that eventually Jerry will get on and do the roll call, but wanted to congratulate both of them on the beginning of a new year here on community boards. I'm home, right? I'm home. I'm really grateful to everyone that has been doing this work for such a long time on Community Board 1 and all the work that we've done to advance, the quality of life and just doing right by North Brooklyn. And I can't tell you how proud I am to be here. Borough Hall in this ridiculous building is amazing building that a lot of folks that are on the screen and on this community board helped carry me here. So I want to thank you all for that. And I'm really excited what the future holds for us. I just want to say that what I want to do for community boards is really infuse it with resources and opportunities for growth for everyone so that we could really do more than what's expected of us. I'm going to be asking for you guys. I'm going to be asking for a lot of work, things that are a bit different. I want to do professional development and educational opportunities for the community board related to land use, to transportation, to education. And I just want to say this isn't stating or saying that you guys are not capable, but just as I was a council member for 8 years, I felt like I was learning every single day. To the last day I was a council member, I was still learning how to be a council member. And then I got the opportunity to become borough president. So I'm extremely fortunate, but I grew every single day. So I want to see if we could do professional development and really start giving you guys opportunities to learn more about certain topic items or topic areas that I think are of importance to the community board. We're going to be expanding our land use department here in Borough Hall so that we can lend you some folks. Should you be doing applications for zonings, I'm going to be asking for a comprehensive zoning plan. So again, just going to be a lot of work and a lot of asks on my part for or of the community board. That won't come without resources. Last is just that because this is, I believe, the first time that a borough president has become mayor since, I think for over 24 years. Our office is running on a skeleton crew right now. We have about 5 or 6 people that we've been able to hire. And I believe out of about 70% of the staff is gone, and they've all gone to be with Eric Adams, which we expected. But because of it, our website it's going to take some time to get up. Our application process is probably going to have to be extended. There's just a lot of things that are going to happen that I'm going to ask for your patience. Please be patient while we set our foundation and we're able to hire up and get to a place where we're functioning in a good way. And again, just wanted to say, really love you all. Really happy to see these friendly faces of folks that have been in and around the work that I've been doing for a long time. I hope that, in the next couple of years, I can really make you proud. I just want to say again, thank you to everybody on Community Board 1. Dialis, I don't know if you want, or Madam Chair Fuller, I don't know if you want me to answer any questions that you guys may have. I don't mind staying a couple more minutes and just seeing if there's like 2 or 3 questions, if you would allow that.
Well, I don't know if anybody has any questions, and I know your time is limited. We
Yeah,
try to
Chair,
work this out to get you on, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And I know that you have your hands full trying to get organized in Borough Hall, because I'm waiting for a call from the task force. Everybody's asking me, but I said it's in your capable hands. So we just appreciate the fact that you're there, and we hope you're up and running as soon as possible. If there's anything Community Board can do for you, please don't hesitate to let us know.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Does
so
anybody
much.
have a question for the council, for a councilman, I'm sorry, borough president?
I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm calling myself council member 2. It's
Antonio, it's Maria Lienza.
Hey Marie, how are you?
I'm good. Congratulations. You look good sitting there.
Thank you so much. You guys can see this ridiculous office. I can't wait to invite you guys out.
My question is that I'm coming up to be for membership, and I just want to know, I'm not a
Get
computer
closer
person.
to your mic, Marie. Marie,
Oh,
get closer to your mic.
I'll be coming up for the to be reelected again, and I need an application. How do I go about doing that? Because I'm not a computer person that, do this and do that. So is there any type of hard copies that could be mailed?
Yeah, so right now, what we're going to do, I think before the end of this week, we're going to have a notice on our website that there are no applications that'll be up right now, Marie.
Okay.
What we're going to do is probably extend the application process and timeline
right.
to make sure that we catch up, I guess. But also we want to change the application itself. We're going to be asking a couple more questions. We're going to be doing a big data dump of all of the community boards, demographics, the expertise, and so forth. So we're going to have a slightly different looking application when we load it up. So everyone that I got to talk to the general counsel and make sure everything is up to snuff. But everybody that's on the community board will stay on the community board until further notice. And we're hoping that in this week, before the end of this week or the beginning of next week, there's more information that we can give you guys on applications. But we'll make sure that every single community board and every single chair and district manager knows the new process and can communicate it to you guys very clearly.
Okay.
So Marie, don't worry too much about it.
Okay.
No one worry too much about it. We're gonna take things slow. Look, I want to make a lot of changes, but I also want to respect the fact that there's been people on community boards that have worked very hard for a long time doing this work, all volunteer. Right, and you guys have taken time out of your day, so I want to make this process as easy and seamless as possible. But you gotta, buy me some time, Marie. Give me a couple more weeks. Let me get the house in order, and then I'll make sure that I'll get that application out.
Okay, good. Thank you, hon.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for the borough president?
My hand is raised, Madam Chair.
I can't see it. Who is it?
It's Maria Vieira.
Oh,
Go ahead, Maria.
your video is not on, Maria.
It's not, I don't know. This is acting crazy. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So my question is, when do we get an introduction of your new staff?
Yes. So right now, there are 2 people that have been announced officially on staff. The first one is the deputy borough president, which is Diana Richardson, who's currently an assemblywoman, and she will be starting on February 1st. And her portfolio is going to consist of food access, gun violence, and also community boards. So you will get to know her very closely because she's going to be someone that's working on this diligently. And then the second person on my staff is Asher Freeman, who is the chief of staff of Borough Hall. So those are 2 people so far that I have on staff. And we will be rolling out new members every single day. We're gonna get influx of new members the day after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So next week, Tuesday, there should be more folks that we're talking about. So we'll be introducing them slowly but surely. But right now, the two people that have been introduced are Asher Freeman and Diana Richardson. And there will be some faces that you've already known and worked with, like Alexis Rodriguez from my staff is also coming on board. Lacey Calver, who used to be my legislative director, is coming on board. So those are people that you would already know. Also, Greg Lewis, who worked for CORE, Brooklyn Legal Services, for quite some time, and then CORE, as one of its co-directors, is the general counsel. So you'll get to know him and see him as well. There's going to be some familiar faces in North Brooklyn that you guys are gonna get used to. But so those are some members, but we want to introduce them one at a time, so that we don't overload everyone.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Thank
Sounds good. Does anybody else want to say something to the borough president? I can't, a lot of cameras are not on. The website is acting up tonight. Is anybody else just?
Yeah, this
Anybody
is
got a
Toby Moskowitz. I just want to say we miss you in the district in Bushwick, and we are really excited to have you in Borough Hall.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Toby.
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you
deserved.
all. Thank you all. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be here, and I want to thank you all. There's so many faces on my screen right now that are so important and really helped me get to where I'm at. So I can't tell you how grateful I am. So thank you so much.
And William Veg here, just want to say, Antonio, we thank you for being the person you are. And we're looking forward to your wonderful leadership, and we got your back.
Thank you. Thank you, William. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm Brooks here. Just want to say congratulations and wanted to know what are some open roles that you have on your team, and is there any way that we can, like, as community members, just publicize what might be open to the community?
The roles for like jobs?
Yeah.
So we're looking for, I guess I'll do the best I can here. HR, human resources. We're looking for quite a large team, maybe 2, 3, or 4 people. Community boards. We're looking for staff that can help with community boards. Community affairs. We're also looking for folks that can be out in the community in different parts of the borough. IT. We're looking for information technology person. Constituent services. We just lost 2 folks. We're not losing anyone. They're all going to the mayor's office, but 2 constituent services folks that we're also looking to hire in. I think we have 1 policy position available. I think we have 1 land use position that's available. We're looking for executive assistants or schedulers as well. Our positions that are available and that we're looking towards. That's what I could think off the top of my head. And there's in the transition website, not the borough president website, but in the transition website, all the job descriptions are there. So you'll be able to see that, Tiana, if you want to send that out. I think it's Reynoso Transition 2021.
From those, if you have somebody to send it to the office, then we can send it out to the board members, and that might
you
make
can
it.
forward it to the rest of the folks. Yeah, so we'll send you something, Madam Chair, and then if you could give it to the rest of the folks.
We'll send it out to the board members in case they have somebody they want to join. So, maybe somebody on the board might want to join your team.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you for indulging me, Madam Chair. Hopefully by next month, we'll have more things in order and more to report. I just want to thank everybody again for everything, and hope I can make you proud over the next 4 years.
Thank you so much, Borough President, and we wish you all
Thanks,
the best. And thank
Antonio.
you for bringing us up to date on your administration.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Good night,
Antonio.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hey, Dutty. Julie.
Congratulations.
Thank you all. Thank you guys. all.
Bye, Antonio.
Bye-bye, Antonio. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much, you
Good
guys.
night. Okay, Christina Napatowski.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you, Chair Fuller. So this is Christina Naplatarski. I'm here this evening on behalf of District 34's new council member, Jennifer Gutierrez. So as some of you may know, the council member sends her regards to everyone. As some of you may know, she just gave birth to a baby, and so she's currently out on maternity leave. But we did want to stop by here this evening just to share a few updates with you all now that the term has started. So we are on the legislative and budget front. We are still waiting on the council members' committee assignments. And for those who are interested, the council's discretionary application is live and it should be on the council's website. The due date for that is February 22nd. On the district office side of things, we do have masks at our district office currently, and we are working on creating a pickup and a drop-off process for those. If folks need masks, they can email our team at district34@council.nyc.gov. I can drop that in the chat. And we are also working with the administration on setting up additional COVID testing sites in the district. If anyone has any issues or has had any issues with the results or interactions at any of the testing sites in the 34th Council District, so Bushwick, Ridgewood, Williamsburg, they can also email our team at the District 34 email address. In addition to that, if folks need to contact us, our district office is going to be remaining in the same office space as Councilmember Reynoso's office was at. So that is 244 Union Avenue. And we can be reached at 718-963-3141 or at district34@council.nyc.gov. And again, I will drop that contact information in the chat box. Thank you, everyone, and nice to see folks on here.
Christina, what are the days and the hours your office is open? Because people can't seem to get in touch with anybody in your office.
Sure. So currently we are working remotely with the Omicron spike, but folks can call the office as the best way to set up an appointment, and we can help remotely. We can assist constituents in any way necessary.
So in other words, somebody call your office and leave a message, you call them back.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Take care, everyone.
Good night. Okay, thank you. So now we're gonna go into our public hearing. Jerry, can we have the roll call, please?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry. Well, our new council member put in the chat that he was here, but not as a panelist.
What?
Our new council member put in the chat that he was attending, but he wasn't able to join as a panelist, so he might also want to say a few words.
We're not at that point yet. These were extenuating circumstances before the meeting.
Sure, but he's also a new council member, just as Jennifer.
No, but he didn't, nobody in the office told me he was there.
Okay.
Is he here?
Actually, that's what Willis was saying, Madam Chair.
Joanna, Jerry, is Lincoln on?
He wrote on the chat. He was right.
Yes, he's on. He's on.
Let's welcome our new Councilman Lincoln Russell. Let's give him a warm Williamsburg welcome. Lincoln, the platform is yours.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Willis. It is great to be with CB1 and so many old friends and familiar faces. I can't wait to be working with you all in partnership. I am out we're picking up water right now. We've got a nitrogen development in the district that's without heat and water right now down in Gowanus. So we're on our way there to help out. But just wanted to jump on for a minute to say hello and to underscore how excited we are to work together. We've got a whole new staff fully in place. Our primary liaison to Community Board 1 is starting with us next week, and her name is Vanessa Nutter. She's going to be terrific. She's a librarian, and she's wonderful. We've been hitting the ground running. We're going to be keeping Steve's old office at 410 Atlantic, but we wanted to make sure that we're fully accessible to everybody in Williamsburg and Greenpoint. So we're going to have 2 satellite offices. Every other week, we're going to be operating out of the Greenpoint Library and the nitrogen development at Jonathan Williams Plaza to make sure that we're accessible to you when you need us, where you need us. So one day a week will either be in South Williamsburg or in Greenpoint. We've hit the ground running, and we want to really be your primary resource to solve problems across the 33rd, from helping to get temporary bike lanes on Kent by North 3rd installed with DOT, to helping to get the traffic light fixed over by Lorimer and Wallabout, to to big things. Thanks to the great partnership with Bushwick Inlet Park and all of our local elected officials, we got $75 million in new funding coming in with Bill de Blasio's help to help us finally demolish the city storage warehouse and build the park that we've long been promised. You know, across the board, really excited to work in partnership with you all, especially on land use issues. I know we're going to be hearing from the folks at 840 Lorimer tonight. I haven't heard from them either. Certainly eager to see more affordable housing, more funding for McCarran Park. Not so interested in the parking that they proposed there, but interested what you all have to say. Excited to work together in a transparent and collaborative way with the community board so that we can start pushing developers around rather than what we've been seeing in our community. So excited to get to work. Any ways that we can be helpful, just let us know. My council email is lressler@council.nyc.gov. We're working remotely right now as well due to Omicron, but we're going to be reevaluating every 2 weeks. So we're going to make another assessment in about a week's time about opening up our office and hope to be up and running as soon as the public health dynamics allow. So I just thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Willis, for calling me out there and giving me a chance to say hello. Look forward to joining these meetings as consistently as I possibly can and just being a resource to the community to help make our neighborhoods even better.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wrestler. Congratulations. And I look forward to working with you. If there's anything that the board can do for you, please don't hesitate to call, reach out to the office. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Now we're going to start our meeting. Jerry, can we have the roll call, please?
Gina Argento. Bogdan Bakarowski. Lisa Bamonte.
Here.
Gina Barros.
Here.
Tian Brooks.
Here.
Eric Brazedas.
Here.
Thomas Burrows.
Here.
Iris Cabrera.
Yeah.
Phil Caponegro.
Here.
Frank Carbone.
Here.
Stephen Chesler.
Here.
Michael Chiricella.
Here.
Teresa Cinciata. Giovanni D'Amato.
Here.
Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur Dibinowski. T. Willis Elkins.
Here.
Julia Amanda Foster.
Here.
Chairperson Fuller.
Here.
Joel Goldstein. Joel Gross. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Here.
Sonia Iglesias.
Here.
Moisha Indig. Bozina Kaminsky.
Here.
Ryan Coonan.
Here.
Yoel Landau. Marie Leganza.
Here.
Abraham Leibovitz.
Here.
Yoel Lowe. Trina Makita.
Here.
Sante Michelli.
Here.
Toby Moskowitz.
Here.
Martin Needleman. Rabbi Niederman. Karen Nieves.
Here.
Mario Domerick.
Here.
Janice Peterson. Dana Racklin.
Here.
Ella Sable. Isaac Sofer. Robert Solano. Del Teague.
Here.
Tommy Torres. William Vega.
Here.
Maria Vieira.
Present.
Stephen Weiberg.
Here.
Simon Weiser.
Sarah, it's Erin Drinkwater. I just logged on. I apologize.
Thank you. 31 members answering the call.
Thank you, Jerry. First item on the agenda is city planning, 840 Lorimer Street. Mr. LaBelle, Richard LaBelle.
Hi, Chair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to start my video. There we go. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Richard Lobel from Sheldon Lobel. I'm joined by Amanda Iannati from my office. Amanda will be running the slideshow presentation. With us tonight are David and Shopsy Harness, who are the applicants. We also have Sam Feigenbaum from Richard Bienenfeld Architect, the project architects, and Kevin Williams from Equity Environmental. Are you still able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Amanda, if you're able to share your screen.
Yeah, if I could be enabled to share, I don't think I can at the moment.
So while Amanda is attempting to share a screen, which she's still unable to do.
I can't share yet. Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we have here is the 840 Lorimer Street rezoning. And again, right, so this is the rezoning. So next slide, Amanda. So what we're seeking here is a zoning map amendment to rezone 4 lots, including the applicant's site and 3 adjacent lots, from an existing M12 R6 zoning district and R6A C24 district to a C45 district. So what does this really accomplish? And the answer is that on the corner of Driggs and Lorimer is 840 Lorimer, which has served for 60 years in a manufacturing capacity. David and Shopsy's families have had a feather manufacturing establishment here since the 1960s. And now that the business is somewhat declined, the understanding was that they would want to reuse this parcel and to produce something that would be productive for the area. And so looking at the existing M12 R6 zoning, they would be able to do something rather sizable in terms of a commercial and community facility building. So when we had those conversations, both with people in the surrounding area as well as with city planning, the idea here was to convert instead to a C45D district, which would allow for 2 things. The first would be for the ground floor, second and third floors to serve as local retail on the ground floor with commercial office on the second and third floors. And importantly, to generate roughly 80 units of residential housing, of which 20 would be affordable. I know that Councilmember Ressler mentioned the idea and the affinity towards the creation of affordable units in the district. So this would, and I know the numbers right now say 74 and 19, subject to the option of mandatory inclusionary housing chosen, that would result in roughly 19 to 20 units for affordability. So very important aspect of any rezoning now is the inclusion of mandatory inclusionary housing. And so this would involve not just a rezoning, which would ensure productive use for the property, but also mandatory inclusionary housing, which would ensure guarantee affordable units for the life of the building. Next slide. So this is the statistics on the proposed development. The building here would result in a 10-story plus cellar building. This is not unlike several building heights along the park in the area, and we can go through those when we see the area map. The building itself would be roughly 83,000 square feet, of which roughly 24,000 square feet would be this commercial retail / office, with 59,000 square feet above serving residential. Importantly, the ground floor would introduce roughly 7,500 square feet of new commercial retail space, which could be divided into several small retail stores, as is intended by the applicant. There would be a base height of 93 feet and a total height of 115 feet, which would result in 9 stories with a reduced 2-story footprint above. Again, the setback would be at the 8th floor. Parking at the site would be for 28 attended parking spaces, which would be on the ground floor and cellar, which is what would be required by zoning. The units, importantly, would be slanted towards larger units, understanding that affordability here is something that's desirable. The breakdown would be 12 studios, 21 bedrooms, 35 2-bedrooms, and 7 3-bedrooms. So, roughly 60% of this building would be 2 bedrooms or above. And importantly, because of mandatory inclusionary housing, the affordable units in this building would be, again, slanted towards 35 2-bedrooms and 7 3-bedrooms. So in MIH, the affordable units mirror the breakdown of the units generally. So it's nice to be able to get some affordable units and importantly, some larger units here. Again, this would be as penciled out option 1 as an example, although we would be mapping options 1 and 2, which would allow for 3 studios, 5 1-bedrooms, and again, 9 2-bedrooms and 2 3-bedrooms. So clearly, slated towards the larger units. Next slide. So this is shows the existing zoning map, showing the existing MX8 district, which is that M12R6 district, which gives the site roughly 65 to 70,000 square feet of as-of-right floor area. But again, this would be primarily for commercial and community facility, not something that's sought by the applicant. Next slide. So the next slide demonstrates the tax map, which shows with specificity what's sought, which is this C45D. Importantly, the reason a C45D is sought instead of a residential district with a commercial overlay is to allow for commercial uses above the ground floor. Typically in a mixed-use building and in many of the zoning districts that we seek in rezonings, you're only permitted to have ground floor commercial. This would allow for broader uses on the first 3 floors, including retail and office use, which was seen as being desirable. Next slide. So the area map kind of demonstrates why we feel that this application has merit. With regards to the zoning map itself and properties along the park, included are across the park are 105 North 12th Street at 7 stories, 101 Bedford and 210 North 12th Street at 8 stories, and closest to the property, immediately diagonal from the property, 279 Driggs at 9 stories. So, this is to have buildings of this building height, particularly along areas where you've got commercial corridors, where you've got the confluence of streets and good street access, it would be seen as being desirable to have some more residential units. In addition, the G train, of course, stops at, on the Manhattan Avenue stop roughly a block from the property. So good street access and the fact that you've got transportation nearby all kind of aligns with what's sought for buildings providing residential and particularly affordable housing. Next slide. So the pictures that are included, and we included all that were included in the city planning application, and Amanda, you can feel free to pencil through. We've got the building itself, the existing former feather manufacturing building, and then we've got some buildings in and around the site. And if you'd like to page through, Amanda, to the introductory page to the plans, I would introduce Sam Feigenbaum from Richard Bienenfeld Architect, who can kind of walk through a little bit of the planning that went into the design. And with that, and after that, we can answer any questions that are posed and discuss whether or not there's going to be further hearings at land use or what have you. Sam, are you able to talk?
I am able to talk, Richard, but Richard Bienenfeld was actually able, I think, to log in. So, since he looks better than me on the camera, I was going to ask if he is here and available. Otherwise, I will take the lead. Richard, are you here?
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Sam, because I think you have a little better hookup than I do, maybe you should just introduce the basic idea of the layout of the building. Basically starting from the ground floor up, and walking along Driggs and Lorimer and what we have. And if you need me, I'm here. But I think you have a little better technical setup tonight than I do. And unfortunately, no one can see my face because my video is not working. So, Sam, why don't you start on that? And
right.
just introduce the project to the board.
Amanda, if you could go to the next slide, just to, and hello, everyone. This slide is just a nice one because it compares the two. What we started with is we have these two commercial buildings on Driggs and Lorimer, not the corner. And the original intent here was to maintain the existing manufacturing buildings. That's what we originally explored. But due to the fact of the conditions of the building and that the grade, the floor of the building starts several feet above grade, which is not work for ground floor retail, handicapped access, and everything else, and the other conditions of the building, we ended up going towards designing new facades that were the brick facade, as you can see on this one, on the top and the bottom, which is similar in feel and style to the industrial and buildings, manufacturing structures that were there. And our goal was to set back as much as possible the addition on the top so that we could maintain the street wall and the feel of the building and put a light, airy building floating on top that was not dominating the space. You may notice from these images, and let me confirm we can go to the next, that from these images that the street wall, ironically, on Lorimer is the glass portion goes forward, and that was just to comply with the street wall regulations, that we couldn't actually set it back even further just for the base street wall. But the goal here, we have a base of commercial of 3 stories, maintaining essentially the existing size and scale of the buildings that were there previously. And then we put a very light, airy glass tower that scrolls through the area behind. Manya, can you scroll to the next page? And we're just looking at some of the facades here, where you can see the 2 street facades are the masonry building that maintains the street wall. And then as we go up, it gets a bit lighter to not dominate the sky and sort of float in the air. And that was the intent. So, man, if you can go to the next slide. And it's just another image of the view of sort of the visual intent. And then as we go through, don't need to go to the specific. Amanda, if you can go to slide number A14, which is slide 32, just to give a quick summary of the floor plans. So in the cellar, we have some additional commercial space and then the parking. And then as we move through the ground floor of the building, we've got retail spaces, 2 retail spaces individually separated, a separate residential lobby, as well as separate access to the commercial space and parking. And then we work up to the 2nd floor where we've got residential amenities which overlook the park. So the residences get the beautiful view, as well as some additional commercial space. On the 3rd floor of the building, which is the last, we have a few apartments on this side with some additional commercial completely separate. And then we get up to the main residential floors where we've got our mix of a couple of studios, but mostly 1 bedroom, quite a few 2 bedrooms and some 3 bedrooms, all with nice light and air and good views facing towards, majority towards the parks. And the units, ironically, in the back that don't look so ideal are actually in the center of the block. So every unit has beautiful light and air. And as we get to the 6th and 8th floors, we are able to start setting back from the streets and then moving further back, pushing the building even further away to have the building set back as much as possible from the street wall and just floating behind as we go through. Richard, do you want to add some additional items here?
Sure. So,
Richard,
I think that there's some summary sheets towards the back of the materials which just talk about the affordability. Amanda, do you want to forward to those? All right. So the option that's sought here is option 1. Option 1 is in the 60% AMI column. The average for studios through 3 bedrooms would be for studios 50,000 of income, adjusted median income, up to 71,000 for 3 bedrooms. Importantly, with regards to option 1, 10% of the building is guaranteed at 40% AMI, which in the example that we stated results in studios for 33,000 of adjusted median income, up to, for a 3-bedroom, families would be making 47,000. So it allows to get really deep affordability in these buildings. And as you can see from rents, which are on the next page, the rents averaging at 60% AMI from studios at $956, 1 bedrooms at $1,200, 2 bedrooms at $1,400, and 3 bedrooms at $1,600, all the way to 40% AMI, which allows for $598 for studios, $756 for 1 bedrooms, $900 for 2 bedrooms, and $1,032 for 3 bedrooms. So again, similar to other applications we've brought before the board, which provide for meaningful affordability for people who would otherwise not have access to apartments of this nature. Again, as Sam said, this is built on the park with setbacks to provide for appropriate context. While there are many buildings, particularly in the area and around the property, which are condo buildings, this is a rental building to provide access for a wide range of incomes within the area. And finally, with regards to preferences for these affordable units, 50% 5.0 would be reserved for residents of Community Board 1. So with that, Sam and I are both available, as is Kevin Williams, our environmental consultant, to answer questions. I guess the only thing I would ask the chair is, I know that this was slated for public hearing and vote. I know typically we do go to the land use committee for a more substantive hearing. And I know that scheduling wise, while it's slated for a vote tonight, we would be happy to waive the additional week if the chair and the community board wanted this to go to land use. I think that this would come in to the full board in or around the second week of February. And to the extent that you wanted us to formally waive the 1 week that this would be late in that regard, we'd be happy to do so if it would allow for the board to have a fuller conversation about the building.
Thank you. The chair of the committee will get back to us on that. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Del Teague.
Go ahead.
I think it would be, I would very much like to have the chance to have this come before, in the normal course of events, to come before the land use committee, and then, you know, for a vote there, and then come back in the middle of February. I don't know if that's possible, but I think that would be preferable.
Sure. So, Del, the formal deadline for CB1's ULURP would end on or around February 7th. And then I believe that the full board, to the extent that this was, they heard the land use committee's determination and voted on that, that would be for February 14th, on or around. So, you know, the Brooklyn Borough president and others typically understand the challenges of ULURP. In fact, this was certified at the end of November, but was unable to come to the board because the way that the certification was like the last day of November, so you couldn't have it in your December hearing. So I think that to the extent that that you and Dee wanted us to formally enter a letter into the record for city planning saying that we waive any objection to the additional week, we'd be thrilled to do so, because as always, we like to have, you know, as full a conversation as possible with land use.
So I'm just wondering, Chair, if we could have that agreement, and Jerry, if that's a safe thing to do, it would be my preference.
The community board clock ends on February 7th.
Yes. And if they formally waive that for another week?
Well, the applicant has nothing to do with city planning's deadline. City planning's deadline is February 7th. Anything we submit after February 7th would be non-conforming.
So then in that case, if we have to vote tonight, I would ask that all of the non-board members of my land use committee be allowed to ask questions and participate tonight. Because if in the normal course of events, they would be able to ask questions and they would participate in the vote for the committee.
Then I have a question to you and to Jerry, also to Richard. Is it possible if the applicant requests that to city planning? Is that something feasible? The city planning will accept kind of postponement and allow the community, because of all these reasons, but also we have a new borough president, we have a new mayor, so many things are changing. We just heard our borough president, you know, is setting up house, and it doesn't even have staff in place. So I believe it's a very exceptional situation. So instead of bringing us as a community board to a very tight, impossible deadline, can we gain more time? Under your request, Richard.
Sure, I'll just answer that from the applicant standpoint. So as a technical matter, Jerry's correct with regards to city planning being in control of the ULIP schedule. Having said that, and understanding that the community board and borough president issue their advisory recommendations to city planning. In the past, as a matter of precedent, there have been community boards which have come in late. And again, as a matter of precedent, the City Planning Commission has accepted those determinations, despite the fact that they legally may have come in a week late. So, you know, we're in front of this board too much to try to cut corners or anything like that. And all I'd like to offer is that we will 100% submit to city planning on the record that we are accepting of this 1 week delay in the issuance of the vote. I don't want to, you know, enter into the requirements of the community board, but having said that, you know, from a commonplace standpoint, I don't think it hurts. So.
So, I guess, Madam Chair, I'm asking what you think we should do here.
Well, I don't know if there's any meeting dates available. We have to, notice has to be put on the website 5 days, and he's only advancing us a week where we have time to set up a meeting.
Well, I have my land use committee meeting is on February 1st. So could we do it then, or doesn't that give us time?
That's past the week extension that he's giving you.
No. The week is.
Are you talking about after, a week afterwards?
Yes, yes.
Okay, if you want to do it then, you're gonna get the extension, because I think it's an issue that the community wants to hear about and ask questions. So it's fine with me if you can set up the meeting, and you're gonna send us an email, you know, telling us that you're gonna extend it.
Excellent.
Okay.
So that means we would not have the vote tonight. I just want to make sure that's okay with everyone. I do think that this that people do want to weigh in on this. I think that
Can we stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that the many people on the community board, and also people even non-board members on the land use committee feel this is an important application. I would like to give them the opportunity to give us, you know, my committee, the opportunity to talk this over, to really evaluate it, make a recommendation, and then come back to the full board on February 8th with our recommendation.
If you can work it out.
I mean, I understand, Jerry, you're right, that technically we're non-conforming, but I just think the idea
How did we drop the ball on this, Dell? How did we drop the ball on this?
I don't think we did drop the ball on it. They said they couldn't present it because it was the end of the month when it got certified.
Okay. Okay, it's fine with me if you can work it out. You know, you can get it in on your meeting, and Bell send us an email that he's extending us time on this.
Okay, so this will be on the February 1st land use meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, Dell. Thank you, Chair. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Does anybody have any questions, or they want to wait till the meeting?
Mr. LaBelle, could you please send us a copy of the presentation so we could have it for the minutes for tonight's meeting?
Yes, happy to do.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Have there been shadow studies? This is Trina, on shadows on the park?
There have, Trina. Kevin Williams, who's on from Equity, did a detailed shadow analysis, and which was reviewed by the Environmental Assessment Review Division of City Planning. We have all those materials and can share them with the committee, on February 1st.
Also, could you also show a comparison to an as-of-right build with an inclusionary housing in terms of how tall the building would be, the number of units, affordable versus market rate and the size of the apartment array?
Sure, we've already done those calcs, so we're happy to provide a massing. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, I see some hands up. Katie Denon, Harvard.
Great, thank you, Chair. I had some questions. I can reserve them for committee, but my questions are really around support for McCarran Park, given the proximity, and it was mentioned as a sort of view and amenity multiple times, and so I'm hopeful that there is conversation about future commitments to support the ongoing sustainability of McCarran.
Chair Fuller?
At the committee.
Yeah, I got, who's that?
Joanna.
I got some hands up.
I just want to let you know that we do have public speakers on this item.
Okay. Okay, well, Willis Elkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I mean, my question is pretty simple. Is what is the community getting out of this project aside from the promise of 10 MIH units that are promised for CB1 residents? It just seems like it's a massive project and there needs to be more investment aside from, affordable units that's required by city planning. So investments in local schools, someone put that in the chat, the parks, as Katie mentioned, infrastructure. You talked about the value of having the G train, which we all know is, shorter than all the other trains in the city. All the infrastructure, we go over this every single time there's a project, and there just has to be a bigger investment from developers to the rest of the neighborhood for a project like this. So my question is, what are we getting from this project at all?
Sure. Thank you, Wills. And just to correct the numbers, the number of affordable units is not 10. It would, I understand 10 for CB1, but generally is between 19 and 24 for the entirety of the project. With regards to community benefits and community arrangements, as with previous projects and as was mentioned previously by Katie, there was a discussion internally as a project team to, whether or not we could contribute to a fund to benefit McCarran Park. We've already started looking into that and are happy to address that more specifically at the committee. But again, I think we're probably going to talk about a lot of these ideas in committee. But yes, the primary goal here, and interestingly, there was a conversation around the as of right massing and square footage, which would be a sizable building, but it would not really benefit the applicant and would really not necessarily benefit the area. So the margin here between, let's say, 64,000 square feet of as of right versus 84,000 square feet of right, if you're looking at that additional square footage of that, that really results primarily in this 16 or so thousand square feet, 17,000 square feet that's devoted to affordability. So, but again, all great points, and we're happy to address with some more specificity community benefits as we go through the process.
Okay, those of you who have spoken, please remove your hands. Is there any other questions from board members?
Yeah, actually, Madam Chair, if I can add something in regard, did you envision any other possibility of making this building very green? I know that I personally spoke before about vertical forest, also in light of the fact that it's a building so close to the park, and and we feel that we have this once again a presence of this very sterile mineral facade, glass facade. Will the applicant explore to apply vertical forest principle, as a green system, environmental system?
So thank you, Sante, for the question. And having spoken to the community board and specifically the land use committee around having additional green features on the building as well as sustainability measures, I've already spoken to the architects about that. When we come into the committee, we can talk a little bit about some measures that we would want to take to explore that a little more. But yes, it's something that we've thought about and talked about, and I think that the building that we come to the committee with will have modifications to it to make it more of a green building.
Yeah, also, Richard, what I was trying to say specifically, because we spoke many times about green building and a solar panel, other feature, but I was talking really on making vegetably, biologically green the building. And that's why I was mentioning specifically, maybe give you more time to explore. When I say vertical forest, I always refers to Stefano Boeri, an Italian architect, which has been pioneering many of these systems. And just to give you an added precise input, if that's a possibility.
That's great. We'll take that specifically into account when we come back in a few weeks. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from board members? Joanna, would you call the speakers on this issue, please?
Yes. Crystal Calderon. I don't see her. Benjamin Sheena.
How do I get involved?
You unmuted.
Sorry. Hi, how are you? Do you hear me?
Yes.
So I think there's been a lot of empty promises made and not a lot of commitments to the neighborhood. 34 cannot support this amount of people. Has anyone ever walked in front of the G train on a Saturday? There's so many people here, and we do not need a building of this size with McCarran Park looking like it looks currently. We have seen so many buildings come to this neighborhood that do not offer us value, and we as a community need to not let the building owners and the architects get super rich, because everyone's making millions of dollars and we're going to have to deal with this. So please, Richard, can you make hard commitments to how you're going to benefit our community besides having affordable housing, which we all appreciate? And don't say 19 to 22 and get us all excited about 22 when we know it's going to be 18. So please make harder commitments if you don't mind.
Sure. So Benjamin, thank you for the comment. The one thing I would say is that there's no empty commitments with regards to affordability. And the reason is that by law, under mandatory inclusionary housing, they got to provide here 19 to 23 units. The reason those numbers is whether or not option 1 is selected or option 2, and those reflect two different adjusted median income, 60% or 80%. So that number can't go down. But again, we get it. There's a certain benefit here to providing affordable units to people who wouldn't otherwise get them on the park, where they wouldn't otherwise get them, and have unit sizes where they wouldn't otherwise get them. And I get it. There should be more of a conversation around material benefits. When we come into the committee in 3 weeks, which gives us a nice amount of lead time, to discuss with specificity what measures how we're going to be pulling our share as far as community members. I come into this community board enough to know that these are issues. I also come in a lot of times with people who are new to the community. David and Shabzi have been here, and they're here since 1960. And they're community members too, and they want to contribute as well. So this is not some person who's coming in from outside. These are integral members of the community, and we look forward to working out something together, which just ends up in a beautiful project, which will benefit everyone.
Let me make a couple more comments. You make a comment that there are other buildings in the neighborhood that are similar, but that building across the street is much thinner and nowhere near the scope of size. We have another building on Engert Street that has been a rat-infested den for years. We don't have parking in this neighborhood, and you're not supplying enough parking. And what you said before about we have minimums. We in Brooklyn right now, in North Brooklyn, we've learned enough. I hope the community board has learned enough to know that the minimum is not enough. We need to make more investments than the minimum, because they're making millions upon millions of dollars. So let's, which I have no issue with, but let's make them make a little less and make the community a little better.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers on this item, Joanna?
Yes, Katie Naplatarski. Katie, you're unmuted.
Yeah. Yes. Hi. Thanks for taking my
comments. I'm going to reserve my comments for when we go to committee, and I really appreciate that this will go to committee. I'd like to point out, or just say, I hope that then we will know whether you have spoken with the adjacent building, the one as you're facing Park Luncheonette standing on Lorimer, the one to the left, which will be incredibly shadowed, I'm sure. So I'd like to know that. I think that would be good to know. And also, what is your idea for what would go into the commercial space? And then also, just to reiterate what everybody else has said, give back to the community, that if this gets the rezoning that you request, you know, you would be part of this community. And that's all the comments I have to make right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Are there any other speakers signed up for this item, Joanna?
That's it on this item.
Thank you. Are there any more questions by the board members? Are there any other questions? Thank you so much, Mr. LaBelle. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chair. You too.
Okay, next item is liquor license. Do we have any speakers on this issue? The liquor license?
Yes, we do have speakers on this issue. Liz Mackenzie. Liz, you're unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your time. So I live in the building that's above restaurant Don Pancho. I believe that's the fourth restaurant on the liquor license list. So just to give a little sense before I go into my position, which is that this license should be opposed. This is a standalone restaurant that sits under a building of approximately 55 residential apartment units. It's otherwise in a residential area. It's right on, you know, Borenkin Place around Lorimer, you know, where there's, you know, primarily apartment buildings and, you know, some small businesses like bodegas and delis. The restaurant has basically had a relentless pattern of noise violations all night. They blare really loud bass-driven music. There are multiple apartments that sit directly, you know, over the unit. Like their DJ booth is right under my bedroom. So, you know, they play music pretty much nonstop, but they actually turn it up in the late hours of the night. So like, you know, since I've moved to this building, I haven't been able to sleep. We filed noise complaints. If you look at their 311 history, and you know, in the past few years, there's between 300 and 400 noise complaints for this premises. My understanding is that they filed for an all-night permit. I know this can be a type of special license, but I'm just concerned based on the location of this restaurant, which is really operating more like, you know, an outdoor club. They have an indoor area, an outdoor area. The music is just at absurd levels. Like I'm thinking of having children, but there's no way I could have a baby in this apartment. They would just cry all night and be woken up. You know, I'm woken up in the middle of the night. The music goes as late as, you know, like 1 and 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And so particularly since they are seeking, you know, all night license struck terror into my heart, just because myself and other members of the building have not been able to sleep. We've reached out to the restaurant directly to try to resolve noise issues, but you know, Don Pancho just has not seemed like a community-driven member of the community. They have no regard for their neighbors. Like I said, there's 50 units in the building. There's probably around 10 on the second floor, which are right above the restaurant premises. It's, you know, causing, like, I think it would definitely qualify as a legal nuisance, but just given their lack of respect for other New York City regulations and the fact that, you know, they're seeking to, you know, basically serve alcohol later than they already do is my understanding. I'm concerned that, you know, it's going to go beyond being music from 1 to 3 a.m. and this happens like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's not even just the weekend. I'm concerned that the residents of the building will suffer. We've had very limited abilities to have recourse and to get the restaurant to turn down the music. And so I'm asking, just as a member of the community that would be directly impacted, that this license be denied. I don't think that they've shown that they are willing to comply and respect New York City laws. We've measured the decibels. They're consistently putting music that's at 50 to 60 decibels or more. On Monday night at 1:30 in the morning, it was 64 decibels. And legally, I don't think they're supposed to be above 40. And this is measured in my apartment with windows and doors closed. So I kindly ask that you consider denying this license request and consider further action if it's within your purview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Sebastian Flores. Sebastian Flores is not here. Next speaker is Shayan Asadi. Hello?
Hi, City Council. So I will keep my part brief, but I'm also another tenant in the building 456 that is above Don Pancho Villa. And I think the last person speaking had a very comprehensive and thorough explanation of the situation. I'll just echo that while I'm on the third floor, I also have similar decibel levels and have issues with the noise on weekdays into the late hours of the night. And my various 301 complaints have not really had any resolution. And yeah, I guess just echoing everything that was said earlier on my behalf as well.
Thank you. Are there
That's
any?
it. That's it on speakers. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our public session. Now we'll go into our board meeting. Can we have a moment of silence, please?
Ms. Fuller?
Yes.
There's still public speakers on other items. It's just for the liquor licenses.
That was just for the liquor license. They'll
Yes.
come under speakers later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can we have our moment of silence, please? Thank you. Can I have the roll call, please, Jerry?
Sure. Gina Argento, Bogdan Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Here.
Gina Barros, Tian Brooks,
Here.
Eric Brusadas,
Here.
Tom Burrows,
Here.
Iris Cabrera,
Here.
Phil Caponegro,
Here.
Frank Carbone,
Here.
Stephen Chesler,
Here.
Michael Chiricella,
Here.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Here.
Aaron Drinkwater,
Here.
Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Here.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Here.
Chairperson Fuller,
Here.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Here.
Sonia Iglesia,
Here.
Moisha Indig, Rosanna Kaminsky,
Here.
Ryan Coonan,
Here.
Joel Landau, Marie Lianza,
Here.
Abraham Leibovitz,
Here.
Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Here.
Sante Maselli,
Here.
Toby Moskowitz,
Here.
Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Here.
Karen Nieves,
Here.
Mario Domrick,
Here.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin, Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer,
Here.
Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Here.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Here.
Maria Vieta, Stephen Waldberg,
Here.
Simon Weiser.
Here. You hear me, Simon? Jerry, you hear me?
Yes, Simon. 31 members present.
Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry, did you
Yeah.
hear me? I was trying to unmute, but there's a problem. I said here, I'm present.
We hear you now, so 32 members present, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have approval of the agenda, please? Can I have an approval of the agenda, please?
Sonia?
Sonia,
I
can I get a-
second that, Iris.
Sonia and Iris, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Against?
Aye.
Against? Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Can I have approval of the minutes, please?
Bill Caponegro, motion?
William Vega seconds.
Bill Capernago and William Vega, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Abstention? Motion carried. Can I have the rest of the speakers, Joanne, public speakers?
Yes. Noah Worktasky,
Shit.
No,
Hi,
Noah.
that's me.
Yes.
Hi, I'm having some trouble with my video, but I'll just speak. Thank you so much for listening. I'm a volunteer and a congregation member at the Park Church Co-op on 129 Russell Street in right by McGolrick Park. We do a lot of things beyond service, we host a daycare, we host a after-school program, we host AA meetings, art events, music events, stuff like that. We were recently informed that the Synod, which is our administration, was going to be cutting our funding and kicking us out of the building and the other tenants out of the building in June, so that the building could be, we don't know this, but presumably so that the building will be sold to developers and converted to some other use. So us in the community have been trying to sort of rally community support just to communicate to the Synod how important the building is to us and to the community. And we've garnered a lot of community support. We have like a petition with like over 2,000 signatures on change.org. We have a lot of people that have donated money as we try to show that we can run things financially without the Synod's help. So I'm here because of two things. The first thing is that we're pursuing a historic landmark designation, and they encourage me to reach out to the community board, make sure you guys are aware of the potential redevelopment of the property, and also to ask if I don't know if how many of you guys have used the space or aware of the space. It seems like a lot of the people in the community are, but to ask for potentially a letter of support to the Synod for them to consider keeping us open as a congregation. That's all. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, Joanne.
Next speaker is Mark Nagawiki. Not here. The next speaker is Sarah O'Brien. Sarah?
Hello. Yes, I'm here. Hi. For some reason I can't get my video to work either. Apologies. I'm here speaking on behalf of the environmental nonprofit Grow NYC. You might know us from the Green Market program, with the flagship market being in Union Square. I work under the Zero Waste program of Grow NYC that works directly with the Department of Sanitation. I'm attending this meeting today because I had wanted to bring to the board's attention and residents of the community of an event that we were supposed to have at the Williamsburg Community Center on January 22nd. Unfortunately, the community center had to cancel the event for the time being due to concerns over the Omicron variant. However, we are hoping to have that in March. The events are called Stop and Swaps, And it's a free event where residents are invited to bring their gently used items such as clothing, small appliances, electronics, kids' items, toys, games, etc. Things that are in working condition. They can donate those items, and we sort through everything, put them out on tables for other residents to view and take something home. And everything is free. So our goal is to bring one of these events to every community district of New York City. So like I said, we will most likely have an event in your district in March. And I just wanted to make the board aware of that. And, you know, whatever items we have left over at the end of our events, we do recycle or donate them. So if anyone in the community also has ties to organizations that would be in need of free items that would go to people who need them, that's basically our goal, to bring perfectly good items to those that need them and simultaneously avoid those items going into the landfill. Yeah, that's basically it.
That is all on speakers, Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Joanna. Committee reports, SLA. SLA.
Yeah, I'm here. We had a meeting on December 21st. There is a report. We caught up on all the postponed meetings from September and October. And there's a variety of recommendations. It would be easier if everybody read the report and we just, somebody makes a motion to approve the report as written. Anybody taking me up on that one?
Is there a motion to approve the report as written?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion, Bozina Kaminski.
Lisa
I
Bamati.
second that. Bozinski and Monty. Lisa Monty.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We need
Aye.
we need a roll call, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, roll call vote.
Gina Argento, Bogdan Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
You get it. Let it go.
Gina Barros, Tian Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Berzadas,
Yes.
Tom Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella,
Yes.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater,
Yes.
Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Manda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz.
Here.
Yes
How
or
do you
no?
vote? How do you vote?
I'm sorry, I meant yes.
Sonia Iglesias,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Bozena Kaminsky,
Yes.
Brian Coonan,
Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza,
Yes.
Abraham Leibovitz,
Yes.
Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Maselli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz,
Yes.
Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Yes.
Karen Yeves,
Yes.
Mario Domark,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin, Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer,
Yes.
Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieira,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes.
.31 in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Thank you, Jared. Does that conclude your report, Tom?
Yes.
I have a question for Tom, an SLA question.
Go ahead.
I'm curious about this all-night permit because I've only heard of all-night permits for New Year's Eve. So I was just curious, is there actually an all-night permit for every single day of the year, or is there confusion on the part of Don Ponchos about what they're applying for?
I have no idea. The first I saw is when the list came out. It's like my first response was, "There's only all-night permits on New Year's Eve." So I have no idea what. Once I see what it is they submitted, I'll know what they're asking for. But I only know them for New Year's Eve.
That was the same, and I feel like they're confused, and I hope they're confused, and I didn't want the tenants to have. I would be having a heart attack too, so I see why they're. But it feels like there's some sort of mistake on Don Poncho's part. But anyways, thank you.
Yeah, once I get the paperwork, I'll see. It just seems very weird. Although there is a move afoot to have drinking all night, so citywide. So
Tom, I believe it's a mistake. I contacted the owner and they said that it was only for the 31st, and they are not looking to apply for every day. So disregard that.
all right, that's what I thought. But
Okay, thank you. Parks and Waterfront.
Hi, this is Trina. Phil has asked me to do the report because he was away at the time of our committee meeting. And we had a couple of items. The first one was the Biba Concession, which is 110 10th Street, which is the one building that's located within the perimeter of the Martha P. Johnson State Park. It's the brick building that you see that's owned by Mark Nagavietsky. And he's come before the board a number of times. Look what he has. Biba is a restaurant that's on the ground floor of the building. Mark is the owner of the building, and in the past he has had he's had individual permit. First of all, Mark has been someone that's owned that building since 2001, and he was very, very involved in the converting of what was then a transfer station into the East River State Park. He also has his building has housed NAG, which is North Brooklyn Neighbors, and he's a longtime community member that's been in support of a lot of different community development. And Biba is the restaurant on the ground floor. And from 2000 to 2012, Mark and Biba received individual permits to cater events in the East River State Park. From 2013 to 2015, New York State Parks gave Nagavietsky and Biba a licensing agreement to operate on a designated 2,000 square foot space behind the restaurant that's on the slab in the park in the rear of 110 Kent. From 2016 to 2019, they had a concession agreement with Biba. The parks gave the concession agreement to Biba, and then in 2020, parks refused to renew any kind of an agreement with Biba. And what Nagavietsky is asking for is support from the community board to write a letter to New York State Parks in support of a licensing agreement just for the 25,000 square foot area of the slab that's within the park, but that is in the rear of the restaurant, similar to the agreement that he had from 2016 to 2019. And if you saw the committee report, there's a plan that there's a drawing, a couple of pages of drawings of exactly what it is he's asking for. What the committee came up with a resolution, which is to ask CB1 to write a letter to New York State Parks and Recreation with the CC to elected state officials recommending that a licensing agreement is granted to Biba to operate during park hours on the 2,500 square foot of designated area of slab in the Martha P. Johnson State Park adjacent to the restaurant in support of owner Nagavietsky's long history as an active community member, as that Nagavietsky is a Polish immigrant in support of the Polish legacy in the community, the diverse use of the recreational slab within the park, and the potential revenue to the park from the licensee's agreement. The committee members voted unanimously in favor of the resolution.
Trina, why did they refuse him?
I'm not sure, because at the same time, they were giving smorgasbord, basically whatever they wanted on the other slab. But Leslie Wright, who attended, she didn't speak up when we spoke about this. She did attend the meeting, but in the past, she hasn't satisfactorily answered that question. I think.
Shouldn't we get the answer to this question before we
I
review
can
it?
answer. I can answer. This is Ryan. They told him that his concession didn't match the new design of the park. To us, that seemed crazy because I'm not sure how Smorgasburg matches and Biba doesn't match. But that was the official response that the commissioner, Eric Kulisow, gave to Mark Nagavitsky in an October meeting in Albany, and then reiterated it again in December when they came and told him to tear it down. But it was that his space doesn't match the park.
Is Director Wright here this evening? She was supposed to be with us this evening. Is she here?
Yes, she is. She actually signed up to speak, but got a confirmation, but was not recognized. And there's another person you need to speak to.
She's still here? We can bring her in.
Yes,
I am here. I have not been able to unmute. Hello, thank you for unmuting me. Would you like me to speak?
Yes, go ahead, Leslie.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On the matter of Biba, I just want to note that there is no current, there's been no application to state parks for a permit from Biba since before the pandemic. So, you know, from our perspective, that's the first step. We need an application with all the particulars, and then the agency will put it through the normal process.
I think what
And was
Mr.
there-
Nagavietsky is asking
Is there
for
a
is,
reason why this permit was discontinued? Was it for cause?
No, sir. It's been an annual permit, and so every year, like most of our permittees, there must be a new application. And you know, as everybody is all together too aware, the pandemic hit in the beginning of 2020, and that stopped a lot of things. But there was no active permit application to consider for 2020 or 2021, and so far nothing in 2022.
There was an active lease that was signed, but then it wasn't activated for 2020. And there's emails in July, and he was forced to tear down a whole construction that was over $200,000 worth that he was told to construct. So again, I think this answer is not truthful and gaslighting, but this is why he's asking for support from the community, because when he turns in an application to the state, he wants the state to understand that the community does support his restaurant. That's why he's here for the letter. He would come back for any SLA or any other type of things, but he doesn't want to go before the state without the full support of the community because he feels like he's been attacked in the past, and it's cost him a lot of money.
Trina?
yes, Sunday.
Also, to clarify, because I saw in the report, I know I was asking Ryan, and there was a 3D, there was some drawing that were attached. I'm assuming you received, that's great. But I saw, just to clarify in general for the community, to avoid once we are here tonight, if there is any question, because I don't remember how he had the space before. Was the space confined? It was separated from the concrete slab? And I saw, let me finish, Ryan, just a question. And so I know you asked vaguely your report, you say in the report to use a portion, the 2,500 to 2,200 square feet of the slab, but is about using the slab or obtaining a dedicated portion of the slab, as I'm seeing in the drawing that I didn't see at the time when we had the committee meeting. I saw when you sent the report.
I think the 2,500 square foot portion is directly behind the restaurant and it's on the slab. Is that, Santi, I don't understand your question.
No, there was a 3D rendering where, I don't know, there were some planters. I don't have it in front of me, but I saw, maybe Ryan can answer about that.
Yeah, I think that in the past, the state required that there be planters all around. When it was a concession, there was an opening that flowed because people could only enter from the park. I think that in the future, and what the original plans were, it'd be fully enclosed and people would have to enter and exit through the restaurant. There would be no park entrance, just to keep the flow easier. Although I don't think it's Mark that's opposed to having flow in and out that way. I think that that's just how it's general, but it was enclosed with planters that are about like chest high. And again, that was part of all of the whole discussions with, I think right now what exists is a whole bunch of picnic benches from Smorgasburg that get put right up against the building. So again, if it was free flow, then I think it would just be how it is, and the restaurant will offer takeout or something. I don't know. It's hard to say.
No, but you understand my question is because I saw the rendering and Trina stated by using the 2,500 square feet, of which I understood you use a portion of the slab which is full of picnic table, or is the request implied that you want to describe exactly the area that you're going to use as shown on your 3D rendering?
It would be a just like the rendering, except I don't think there would be an opening into the park unless states and the community wanted an opening into a park. Again, I think it's an enclosed thing with planters where it would be the backyard space to the restaurant. You would enter and exit through the restaurant. It's the part that's behind the path comes up. When you walk up the path, you can either turn left and go towards the building, or turn right and go to the rest of the platter. So it'd be all the portion that's naturally behind that path, which is like I forget the exact, like the 50, I'm bad at the numbers, 45,000 square feet, or not that much, but it's that 1/5 portion of the slab that's directly behind the restaurant, the building, and behind the path. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I want to clarify because it was,
we sent what was a portion of it. He hadn't had any new drawings made up because he hasn't even started the formal sort of application process. That a real drawing of what it would look like would come before the SLA. Once there's actual, before they can apply to the SLA, has to get a lease from the state. So it'd be going into negotiation with the state, getting their agreements, and then coming before the SLA and getting that as far as openings, exits, all of that stuff. That's what he had before.
Or it may be new input from the states, which may require something different, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can't imagine because the last time we went, the whole thing was changed. But that drawing was what he had last time, and he's not looking for any more space. He's not looking for anything more, I guess.
I see. So are you working with them or
with the state?
No, with this applicant. Are you working with them? So you're gonna follow this directly?
Oh, I always help Mark do this. Yes, he's a friend and a neighbor. Yes, but yeah.
Okay, just the comment, for everybody to understand better what it was. I figure it was an older drawing, but we don't know. Maybe Leslie can write how, once the slab has been redesigned and conceived with the table, will be a new restriction or prior things will be reapplied.
Again, the last discussion, I think official discussion that Mark had was in December of 2020, when they said, sorry, Biba doesn't match the park and you have to tear down the whole, there was, I think you could see in the drawings, there was the little structure that was the awning that was attached to the building. That whole part was ripped down.
Madam Chair, it's Leslie Wright. Would you like me to?
Yes, elaborate on that,
Pick up
please,
the works?
Leslie.
Okay, great, thanks. So the structure that was there that Ryan's referring to was in the park, and given the renovations that have happened to date, needed to come down indeed. So that's what that was. I just want to reiterate that, you know, we're happy to talk to any applicants of any one of the state parks throughout New York City. But until we have an application before us, there's really nothing that we can say because we have nothing before us. I would just point out as a point of information for everyone that liquor is not allowed in any state parks. So to the extent that an application comes in from a potential permittee or potential concessionaire for any of the state parks, and who wishes to serve alcohol and who has been granted an appropriate liquor license, excuse me, that then the conversation becomes in part about how to make sure that the state park space is properly arranged or managed, so that there's no ambiguity about the overarching rule that there's no alcohol allowed inside state parks. So
in
that's
other
just
words,
one
what you're
piece
saying,
of
Leslie, is
information.
the
Again,
applicant
I'm sorry.
What you're saying, Leslie, is the applicant must put in an application and then come to you and have a meeting?
That's right. That's standard operating procedure, 100%.
Would it be possible for the community board to support the application with a letter of support, which is what was discussed at the committee? And that's what the
That's
committee board-
completely up to the community board. That's
Right.
I
well,
mean,
that's I'm not asking you
completely
that. I
fine,
guess
but
I'm
it's not
asking
part of the
the chair.
application proper.
I have a question for state parks. So in the event Biba applies, does that mean that they can't serve alcohol on that slab?
Again, if you know, looking in the past, when Biba did have a permit to use a portion of the patio as an extension of the restaurant, in the past, Biba had an active liquor license, and we came to a mutual agreement to permit a discrete area of the patio that was, excuse me, had boundaries with the planters that Ryan has described, and the traffic flow was from, I believe, the inside of the restaurant outside to the patio that way, rather than from the park into, because that's how the alcohol portion is best controlled. For any park, you know, if in any state park there's a permitted bar area, the first question is, well, or the first question to getting to that permitted bar area is, how do we control it? Because not every single person on the planet of any age is allowed to legally drink, and state parks does not allow alcohol in the state parks legally. So it just has to be managed. It's operational, but it's part of the discussion with any given applicant. But again, application is first, and that hasn't happened yet. So first up, New York State Parks. If the community board wishes to sign on to a letter of support, that's the community board's prerogative.
Leslie, the structure that he had to tear down, this was the structure where you have given him permission to sell liquor?
The structure itself was attached to the building, which is privately owned by Mark and his entity. But because the property line at that end is is actually the building itself. Like the one speck over from the building is parkland, state parkland. So this, since the structure was affixed to the building, it actually, even though attached to the building, which is privately owned, was on state parkland.
I
The
see.
structure itself was not, and the business Biba had the liquor license, and the business Biba's liquor license, together with the permit from state parks at that time, allowed or permitted service on a small portion of the patio immediately adjacent to Biba, and separated from the rest of the state park by the physical planters that Brian referenced.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm slightly confused because I feel like that we're ignoring the fact that there's also Smorgasburg, which had a bar that didn't have planters around it, that had a string. So I'm just confused at the discussion about there not being liquor allowed in New York State parks, while failing to mention Smorgasburg. If there's going to be an RFP to serve alcohol again this year, if Smorgasburg is coming back, I assumed I mean, again, it's sort of, I don't know, I'm confused, and I was just, but yeah.
I am too, Ryan. I'm totally confused by Park's deal with Smorgasburg and how they get away with it. They're totally disingenuous about that. Totally.
Madam Chair, if you'd like, I can address the questions that Ryan has raised.
Okay, go ahead, Leslie.
Smorgasburg is also a permitted event. They have an annual permit. The bar area is a fully physically articulated area, together with staff that is dedicated to checking IDs, both for people wishing to go into the bar area. So it's fully staffed and monitored. They have a liquor license, so it's pretty straightforward.
Let her finish,
Summer
Ryan.
license. So I'm curious if
Ryan, let her finish, please. Go ahead, Leslie.
I think I did finish, Madam
Oh, okay.
Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
I mean, I was just curious because last year we were told that Smorgasburg was just given a 1 year and that there was going to be a big community RFP process to discuss this area. What I'm hearing tonight is that it's an event that's coming back again. So again, this has nothing to do with Biba per se, but I'm just curious about that.
If I may, Madam Chair, I'm really glad Ryan brought that up.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Thanks. So, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what was said last year, Ryan. In addition, we engaged in a very extensive community engagement process about the park as a whole and the renovations there, the commemoration of Marsha P. Johnson. And as I hope at least some of you recall, maybe a lot of you recall, because I know I've been here a lot and maybe you're sick of me, but the extensive community process led to substantial design changes in the park as a whole. As a result of the impact on the existing contract with the contractors, the New York State Office of the State Comptroller said, no, the level of magnitude of changes are too significant. You need to rebid the contract in order to achieve these community-driven changes, the additional landscaping, the change in materials, the additional, all the order of magnitude of changes. And I've tried my best to come to the community board and to the Parks Committee each and every opportunity to report these changes and report in the fact that the comptroller required us to rebid. And that information came It came in the summer, I believe. I'm a little fuzzy. I don't have the dates in front of me. It came early in the summer or perhaps midsummer. And at that point, we made the decision as an agency that, you know, of course, we have to follow what the comptroller says. That's procurement law. We don't have any choice. But instead of leaving the park torn, the main body of the park still with the construction fence and with all the landscaping disrupted, as in torn up, we decided to put it all back together very temporarily, installed temporary sod, and remove the construction fences so that the park could be used throughout the remainder of the summer and through the fall and the winter. And as recently as the last community board meeting and the last Parks Committee meeting, we've given updates about what the construction schedule is. And tonight I signed up for 2 minutes to give everyone an update on exactly what's happening and when. So the RFP is not happening because starting the construction fence is going back up, pretty much the same footprint as it was last year. It will be fully constructed by January 17th. January 17th is also the same date that ground will be broken, so that all of the site work that we all decided on collectively can be accomplished. The stormwater management system fully installed, the porous pathways, the additional landscaping, great lawn, the different gardens. And so, since the park is going to be the main, kind of like the main body of the park will be behind this construction fence from mid-January until May 31st. It didn't make sense to do an RFP this year because we don't have a full season to offer anyone. And it has been publicly stated from the agency that we would grant another 1-year extension or 1-year permit, not an extension, but a discrete permit to Smorgasburg. Status quo last year was very smooth. We it was very reduced because of just starting up after COVID. The vendors took a while for them to come back, and it was still a reduced footprint, both because of the constraints of the pandemic and also because of the smaller slab sizes. So we'll continue, the idea is to continue Smorgasburg next year as a 1-year permit on the smaller scale. The park construction, again, the footprint of the construction fence is very similar to the way it was last year, but full disclosure, the fence on the north side of the park, closest to Bushwick Inlet Park, will be a little further north, I guess, a little bit further closer to Bushwick Inlet Park, because we have a lot of path work to do as well as the site work. Therefore, for the playground, only the swing set will be available from mid-January till the end of May. The entrances to the park will be through North 8th. That fully refurbished pathway will remain open. The entrance on the north side of the park through Bushwick Inlet Park will remain open for the most part. There is a period when that also will have to be closed because of the additional path work we need to do on the extreme north side of the park. The dog run will be unaffected and remain open throughout. As far as the public art component of Marsha P. Johnson State Park, that work, you may all recall from previous reports, is on a different time clock. It's not 2022 for completion. Rather, the Art Advisory Committee, composed of family members of Marsha P. Johnson, a representative appointed by Community Board 1, another local community representative, as well as members of the Parks Department, State Parks Department, and also public art experts, has continued its work. We hope to get out the RFP, the call for the 2 pieces of public art. It'll be 2 separate RFPs in approximately 1 month, so that the process can play out. And when it's all done, there will be 2 pieces of public art, one more on the monumental side, as in standalone, deep within the park, and one that is part of the gateway that separates Kent Avenue and outside the park from inside the park, and just really announces and welcomes the fact that this is a very special park, a very special place to the community, and a very special place that commemorates Marsha P. Johnson. And the idea is that those pieces would be both completely fabricated and installed by late summer 2023. So that's my more than 2 minutes, and thank you, Chair Fuller, for allowing me more time.
You're welcome. Okay, Trina, is there anything else on this item? Any more
Well,
comments?
do we want to go? I guess the question is, I read the resolution that the committee had, and even though the application has not gone to state parks, does the community board, as was voted on by the committee, wish to write a letter in support of the eventual application that Mark will be sending to state parks for the space behind the restaurant that's within the park? Does anyone want to support that resolution and second?
Well,
Can I make a comment?
Shouldn't we see a copy of this application before we endorse it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I guess we'll table it then, and maybe when Ryan and Mark, when you're ready with the application, if you want to come back to the committee, we will, with the application in hand, we can share the application with the board and see if the board is ready to support the application. Okay. The next thing that we talked about at the committee meeting was actually what Leslie gave a report to the committee, similar to the report that she just gave to us, talking about the various change, the closing and the eventual reopening and the changes that were going to take place in the state park. And then we also talked about the Arts Committee, which Leslie also touched on. Then toward the end of the discussion, a community member asked about the potential of eventually removing the fencing between Martha P. Johnson State Park and Bushwick Inlet Park, citing the natural open border between in Long Island City, between the East River Waterfront State Park, that's Gantry Park, and the city park, Hunters Point Park, that along the East River. There you have a state park and a city park without a fence going through it, but with a natural opening. And so there was a resolution made in the committee for CB1 to write a letter to New York State Parks and New York City Parks with regards to Martha P. Johnson State Park and Bushwick Inlet Park. Number 1, asking for the removal of the fence between the parks so as to establish a continuous open border. And then additionally that the parks adhere to the similar hours. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to look up exactly what that the state parks keep to the hours, which are much more expensive than Bushwick Inlet Park. And thirdly, that the gate at Martha P. Johnson State Park along North 7th be open during the hours of park operation. Right now, that gate is not always open. It is open sometimes, but it's not always open. So those 3 items were part of the resolution. And I sort of stumbled through them, so if you want me to read them again, I can.
Make a motion to approve that resolution with the 3 initiatives that you mentioned.
Second, Del Teague, I second.
Jocelyn, was that Del?
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento?
Yes.
Bogdan-
I've been
Bogdan-
here, Jerry. I've had problems with the
Bogdan
getting on.
Bakarowski? Lisa Bamonte?
Yes.
Gina Barros?
Yes.
Tion Brooks?
Yes.
excuse me, Eric Brusitis,
Yes.
Tom Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella,
Yes.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater,
Yes.
Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Ozena Kaminsky,
Yes.
Ryan Coonan,
Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Leanza,
Yes.
Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz,
Yes.
Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman, Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin, Bella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes.
Want some more?
.31 in favor, 0 no, 0 abstention, motion carried.
Thank you, Jared. Does that conclude your report, Trina?
Yes.
Thank you. Ad hoc committee?
Madam Chair, can we, can I do a report as I am the appointed member, the Marshall P. Johnson Art Advisory Committee? Just a brief report as I attended the last committee meeting.
Is this what your report is about?
Well, actually, we'll link a little bit to what Leslie Wright just said that, and I want to inform the community at large, just without entering detail because we're under some constriction because there are some procurement before the request for proposal. So, but generally, there's going to be 2 art pieces, Leslie said. One is going to be a monumental on the inside of the park, and one is going to be something is in discussion by the gate. I have raised it at the committee.
Is this your report, Sante?
No, this is not the ad hoc committee. This is about the Marshall P. Johnson.
Yeah, but we are asking for your committee report.
Yeah, but I was saying if it maybe was the case for me.
No, I'm asking for your committee report.
Okay, I can go to my committee report then. I can do that later if you want, Madam Chair.
We're running out of time. I don't know.
Okay.
And also, Sunday, just clarify that this is Toby speaking, we did a joint committee meeting.
I will.
Economic Development, yeah. So this is a report for the ad hoc committee and the economic development together.
Yes. But I presented, so I will.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. So yeah, we did a joint committee, ad hoc committee outreach and economic development meeting. And the core, it was meant to really create a platform, potentially a recurrent forum to discuss a large community concern. And a lot of change has been happening in the community, which has been about lack of retail diversity. That's something that's been experienced particularly during COVID and before, but it's been exponentially evident now. And an over-proliferation of liquor license, as SLA review committee can testify, seeing the amount of license. So we've been seeing storefront have been closing down, and immediately in this last year and a half, 2 years, being replaced by legal license application. You know, Greenpoint especially, we had report from the Greenpoint Coalition, and we've seen an entire block closing the loop entirely, where each storefront has become literally a liquor license. We have lost other business who were there. So based on that, and also based on the fact that the City Council in 2017 produced 72 pages of a report and a study, of which it was called Retail Diversity. And I believe it was giving also special mission to a small business service to focus on that topic. We don't know exactly what happened. But what we were able to do at the meeting, we invite North Brooklyn Chamber and the chair, Elin Brodsky, and his president, Paul Somosky, were present. We invite Council Member Levin at that time, and Ben Soliter attended the meeting. We also invite our council member, current council member Lincoln Ressler. He also attended the meeting, and there were other members from the community. So I believe it was an interesting start. What we had discussed and pointed, and the issue were presented, definitely, it was, as I said, over-proliferation, legal license. There was a discussion around the number 1,000 license, and definitely that lack diversity. And then the report was mentioned again, and comment from Council Member Rester, where, you know, the diversity is needed. I believe he stated they had noticed, especially in Greenpoint and Williamsburg, you know, that we were missing that diversity, and also mentioned that maybe a focus on the arts will be needed, you know, with help for recruitment, encourage, incentivize maybe landlord to bring in diverse tenants, you know, engage with the NICHA to hire locally. And definitely, you know, you mentioned a discussion probably to be continued. At the time, he wasn't in office yet, when he would have come in office. And also, finally, you can read the report, so I don't want to annoy you with that. You can watch the video if you're interested. We're going to do this again with Toby. What CB1 could do, and definitely they were mentioned about doing a dedicated research, you know, a board to survey the neighbor again. Ben Soliter has mentioned, you know, reach out to Block and Tenant Association for dedicated feedback. Really reassigning the role of our remaining manufacturing space. There were main talk about fresh program, you know, to bring more nutritious food to residents. I mean, definitely this is a very hot topic. I know we facing recovery, but maybe we're facing, we're in the middle still of pandemic. But Julia Foster also made comment, you know, about our own history in the neighborhood. But this is something we're going to need to talk with community, and what we will need to achieve probably is trying to have a dedicated framework, how we're going to face this, what we want, and need for policy. And so we don't have to be against the liquor license, but we don't have to be against the landlord either, you know, need for framework. So we opened the conversation. We're going to do it again. I'm going to pass the word to Toby. She may want to say something specifically. Toby, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I just wanted to say, to commend Sante, who did a phenomenal job first reaching out to me, and we put a lot of time into meeting together to try to create a collaboration. And this is not a statement against liquor licenses or any specific kind of business. It's just a commentary and a need for all of us to work together now to basically be able to really make sure that what's made this neighborhood so unique, which is retail diversity, that businesses have a chance. And we ask any other committees or any other individual members or community members on the call to reach out to either me or Sante if you want to get involved. And also if you want to bring other issues to us that relate very broadly to economic development, and of course to outreach, which is intended to be a voice for the overall community. So that's it. And thank you, Chairman Fuller, for allowing us to collaborate as a committee. We think it's going to make both of our jobs much more effective.
Thank you, Toby.
And again, to close, really, the outreach committee, he wants to become something more than that. As Toby just said, he wants to become a platform. I always said that, a place where we can have conversation automatically. It turns to be a form of outreach, and hopefully talking, attract people, and maybe we'll find simultaneously way to communicate this. But definitely we need to talk. We don't have enough space, I believe. And me and Toby, we're going to continue to work on this together. It's going to be a closer collaboration. So it's going to be an open platform on this regard. As she said, maybe other community issue, we're happy to try to outreach and create forums and conversation for the community. Especially now, we have a new council member, we have a new borough president, a new mayor, and hopefully and need to talk about a lot of things because we're going through very, very hard time. Economically, socially, quality of life, I believe we need to embed collaboration between other committees too. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sante. Thank you, Toby, for collaborating on these issues.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Land use.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. We had one land use application. This was to rezone the site on which 103 Lee Avenue has a building, and it rezone it from R6 to R7X /324, and also to establish a mandatory affordable housing MIH area. The application for the rezoning also includes a lot across the street from 103. That would be 100 Lee Avenue, which is not owned by the applicant. So the proposal is to have an 8-story mixed-use building with affordable housing and either 16 or 13 affordable units. The makeup of the units would be 20, this is the total makeup, 21 bedroom, 31 2-bedroom, 1 3-bedroom. There are no studio apartments called for. And the applicant did point out that the current zoning is non-contextual. You don't have to have a contextual development, and there is no there's no limit on the height, whereas this would give a height limit, and it would require contextual development, and also it would allow commercial space, whereas as of right would not allow the commercial space. So as I mentioned in the report, several committee members were opposed to the application, and Mr. Wiseman proposed a motion to vote no because for the following reasons. No, because the owner had not agreed that he would have a cap of 8 stories, that he had not reached out to the community, that he wouldn't agree to keep to not increase the number of units so that ultimately he could wind up with studio apartments. And then the other problem was that the applicant had not made a commitment to what his market rate rents would be. So, and also some of the members in the community felt that it would be better to have that the rezoning should just be applicable to the applicant's site, with 103, and shouldn't include the site across the street. Before Mr. Wise's motion was voted on, I was told that the applicant, the owner, was present and had wanted to speak, and also that there were 2 or several members from the community who wanted to speak, and we hadn't been aware that they were there. So the motion hadn't been seconded, and the committee, this committee has a very strong policy to allow and encourage residents to voice their opinions. So we did allow that, and the owner informed us that he was willing to agree to most of the concerns that the committee members had raised. He was willing to have a restrictive covenant limiting the height of the building. He was willing to agree that the number of units would not increase. He would not have any studio apartments. He was willing to work with the community and reach out. And several members of the committee did mention that actually in terms of making a commitment to what the affordable units would rent as, that we've never asked that of anyone. So the committee voted to change the vote to, because the owner had agreed to most of the the conditions that were going to be objected to. Committee voted to vote yes with the following conditions: that there would be a restrictive covenant limiting the height of the building to 8 stories. The rezoning would be limited to 103 Lee Avenue, would not include 100 Lee Avenue. The applicant would reach out to the local community and nonprofit organizations to consult with them regarding his plans going forward, and the number of units will not be increased over what is in the presentation. 16 voted yes, 0 voted no, and 2 voted to abstain. So I need a vote.
Sonia makes a motion.
I second it. Chesler.
Okay, Sonia and Chancellor, roll call vote, please.
What's the motion, please?
The motion is written in my report. Yes, with the following conditions that I just read. You need me to read them again?
Chair, Simon, I have a question. Simon, you have a question on the motion?
Go ahead, Simon.
My question was that we mentioned, although it was never brought up, about the market rate, the market rate apartments. You did mention that board members had mentioned that they be said or published what the market rate apartments are going to be, because if they're going for the 80% in the report to the borough president, which so last week, just for the timings, last week Monday they didn't know what kind of program they're going to do. Now to the borough president's presentation, which is going to come out next week, they know that he's going to be 80%. So we're talking about very high. The low income is going to be a very 80% of the AMI. So automatically we can assume that the market rate is going to be quite high. So this was mentioned by the committee between the discussions of the members. We wanted to know what they will be asking for the market rate apartments. And that I think was mentioned, and I think you also mentioned it in your report. So that should be part of this motion.
That was not a part of the motion, because several committee members mentioned that this is not something we've ever done. We've never asked a developer to make a commitment to what the market rents will be.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you brought that up. I think all the board members who live locally have no objection to that. I caught it myself and Rabbi Niederman and other board members who live locally, and they want to keep this project. We do not want to look like Greenpoint, and we made it quite clear. We want it should stay. It should affect the rents from the neighborhood. We do not want to bring in very high-end apartments price-wise. So that's, I think, we brought it was quite clear, and it's also that was voted on. But I think that's mentioned in some of your report. So I think this should be part of the motion.
Simon, that is not in my report. The report says that several members said it's not our policy to ask for an owner to tell us ahead of time what the market rate rents will be. That's what's in my report. I mean, if the committee, if the community board wants to change the motion, that's fine, but that was not in the that was not what we voted on. We voted on what I read. We did not vote that the
So look, I do remember differently, but again, I accept what you're saying, the chair, but I'm just explaining. That was mentioned. I did some, maybe you mentioned it, what wasn't the normal practice, but I would like to make a friendly amendment to your motion, which I think is quite normal. If we want to keep this project, it should affect the price of what we pay in the neighborhood. We're not willing to pay 1 or 2 bedrooms skyrocketing. I'm sure you would accept such amendment. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
So I'm not sure I understand the amendment, that the market rate rents should reflect what the market rate is in the neighborhood?
No, I'm saying is that when he's going for further improvements, the board president and to city council, he has to come. It should be put. He should make. It should be noted what the market rate price will be. And I think it's a normal. He knows by now. He knows by now what he's going to be. What he's going to be asking. Because as we understand, so all the community board members, all the CB1 members by this understand that 4 floors are built already on this building. He's just adding another 3 floors. So he knows by now what he's asking, and we want to keep this project, the same as the whole neighborhood, not too high. It should reflect. We don't want to bring in one building should start copying the other building, and that's our whole idea here. So that's why I'm asking if you would accept a friendly amendment to your motion that we should vote that when he's moving on for other improvements, you go to Borough President and to City Council, he should publish what his market rate price will be for the market rate apartments.
So that.
Doug, excuse me, just as a point of information, the committee's recommendation is not subject to a friendly amendment because the committee's recommendation is formulated in committee. The motion has been made and seconded. This motion would have to be voted down and then a new motion introduced, just as a point of information.
Okay. All right, look, in the interest of time here, we're running out of time. Why don't we,
I think Rabbi Needham might want to speak on this issue. I don't know if you want to hear what he has to say before you do that.
Sure.
Rabbi Needham?
I'm not looking to start over to vote it down and then vote for a new motion, make a new motion. Being that in interest of time and that it should proceed as is.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi. Go ahead, Dale.
Okay, I guess then we vote. But it may be something we want to discuss in the future about whether we feel we can demand that the that developers commit to some kind of specificity with the market market rents that they're going to charge. In the past, they've always said, well, we'll just charge whatever the market allows, and we haven't really acted on that. So anyway, it's not I think it's something that should be discussed. But
can I just make one more point? Del, can I make one more point? And I maybe I got it wrong here, but I almost sure, I can't swear to it, but although you did mention that it was the normal practice, but was by the vote it was mentioned that he has to disclose the market rate, what he's going to be charging. Now, so we can make a vote and accept your recommendation. I will vote yes, but whatever was discussed at the committee. So we could always put in if it was discussed to that he has to publish, make known the market rate prices. Then we'll go with that. If not, then we'll go with what you
that
just mentioned.
That wasn't part of the motion. And if you read the report, it's not in the report. The report doesn't say that. I'm not saying I'm against it, but it wasn't what the committee voted on. There were a lot of committee members there.
Maybe I don't remember, but look, whatever it is, so let's just vote and finish.
Okay, who made the motion? Was it Chancellor and who?
Sonia.
Sonia.
I second that.
What?
I second the motion. Okay.
No, Sonia second. Roll call vote, please.
Sonia made the motion and just a second.
Okay, however.
The motion is to accept the committee's recommendation on 103 Lee Avenue. Gina Argento,
Abstain.
Bogdan Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tion Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Brazedas,
Yes.
Tom Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
No.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella,
Yes.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater,
Yes.
Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster, Joel Goldstein,
I said yes.
Joe Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz, Sonia Iglesia,
Yes, sorry,
Yes.
yes.
Moisha Indig, Ozina Kaminsky.
Abstain.
I'm sorry?
Carrie,
Yep, come again, please.
I abstain.
Thank you. Ryan Coonan,
Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Leanza,
Yes.
Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz,
Yes.
Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domrock,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin,
Yes.
Ella Sable, Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega, Maria Vieira,
Yes.
Stephen Weiberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
No.
$27 yes, 2 no, 2 abstention, motion carries.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, everyone. That's all for me.
Thank you, Dale. Landmarks?
Okay, it's Trina again, and I can be quick. There was one building that came before us, which is 1097 Lorimer Street, which is in a row of very well-preserved brick row houses in the block between Noble and Collier, built in 1884. And the building is undergoing extensive interior and exterior renovations, working with landmarks. And there was just one issue in the building process that were being brought to the community board, which is a rear window, which is right now a double hung window that they are enlarging and changing from a rectangular shaped window to almost what's 3 windows. They're calling it a slider window, where there's a stationary pane in between and then 2 windows that can be opened on either side. That basically making a much larger opening to allow the light to come in. The thing about this building, unlike the other buildings in that row, is from the block behind, which is also in the historic district on Guernsey Street, you can see the back of this house, whereas you can't see the back of the neighboring houses. And the change to the window would become very evident from the street. And the committee decided I'll read you the resolution. Acknowledging that Community Board 1 is only being asked to comment on the rear parlor floor window replacement, and given CB1's commitment to maintaining the fabric of the Greenpoint Landmark District, and noting the unique visibility from the neighboring street of the rear of the house, the committee recommends disapproving the proposed slider window and suggests the original window style is maintained. And the committee voted unanimously in support of the resolution. And we need a motion.
I make a motion to approve. Steve Chesler.
A second, Del T.
Steve and Dell, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Motion is to accept the committee's recommendation to deny the application. Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros, Tian Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Brusadas,
Yes.
Tom Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato, Aaron Drinkwater.
Yes.
Yes.
Arthur Divinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julie Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz, Sonia
Yes.
Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Rosanna Kaminsky,
Yes.
Ryan Coonan, Joel Landau, Marie Leanza, Abraham Leibovitz, Joel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Jerry,
Sante Michelli.
Jerry, did you hear I said yes? Marie Leanza?
I got you, thank you. Toby Moskovitz,
Yes.
Martin Nealman, Rabbi Niederman, Aaron Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin,
Yes.
Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieira,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser, $27 yes. Motion carries.
And that's it.
Thank you, Jerry. That concludes our committee reports. Parks Minute as read, unless Mary's here and wants to say something. Announcements, elected officials. Is any elected officials still here?
I believe they're gone.
I think they're gone. Nicholas
Yeah.
Perry from the Borough Controller's Office, he's not there. Emily Gallows, Chief of Staff, is not there.
No.
Okay,
Madam Chair, excuse me.
yes.
There was one member of the public who said they signed up to speak and received a confirmation, but they were not called on to speak.
And who was that?
Katie Naplatarski.
Katie did speak, I called her.
She signed up for two issues, two separately. One on the
You only get 2 minutes.
She already spoke, I called her. We got her request, I called Katie to speak and she spoke.
apparently she submitted two requests on two different issues.
I only have one
We've done that in the
request.
past, so.
I
You
only
only
have
get 2
one.
minutes, Steve. Every public session speaker gets 2 minutes, period.
Okay, is there any new business? Is there any old business? Motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, may I say something? I meant to speak on new business.
Yes,
Happy belated birthday.
thank you. Thank you.
I have something on the new.
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
birthday.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
on the new business, I have something to say.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your well wishes. I
Wait.
appreciate it. So, can I get a
Wait.
motion to adjourn?
Marie Lanza is trying to speak.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say something on the new business.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know, where this could be, what committee, I don't think we have a committee, but anyway, it's brought to my attention that, this past couple of weeks, or we're having problems with banks. And the banks in our area, Chase Manhattan has been closed for about 2 weeks. Capital One, you can't even find a bank opened, and, Cross County is sporadic. The thing is that I think it's terrible that banks are closed when we have people that want to,
Get closer to your mic, Marie.
sorry. The issue is that the banks in our area are closed and they're not opening at any time. Chase Manhattan Bank has been closed for about 2 weeks, and we have a lot of I'm talking in behalf of the seniors. The seniors are having problems because I know they get the direct deposit of Social Security, but not everybody has a direct with a card. And it's very difficult for these seniors to get money out. I don't understand why banks should be closed. They should have maybe certain times they have to be open, or whatever. I understand about the COVID. I've already sent acknowledgement to Congresswoman Karen Maloney. I put a request. I spoke to Maritz's office. I spoke to a couple of other places. I don't know how the planning board can help this out. A letter sent to what? But I don't think a bank should be closed. It's not fair to our community. So, I mean, maybe you can help me, or Jerry, you can guide me. And
Well, they're state regulated, so they're state electeds.
you know,
Yeah, I heard that there are a lot of banks open. The ATMs are open, so that's federal. You have to get in touch with Schumer and Malone and those.
No, the ATMs have been closing earlier and earlier at the bank branches too. I went the other day and they were all closed at 10 o'clock at night.
that's because there's no more money. There's no money. The ATM machines get empty, and there's nobody to fill these machines. I mean,
No, they have new hours. They close at 10 o'clock.
Well,
Madam Chair,
The first thing is the banks are short-staffed.
yes, Madam Chair, it's Karen. I was told that it was due to the mandate. I guess there was, unfortunately, employees that were not vaccinated. So they're short-staffed.
Exactly.
And this is horrible. It's horrible. It's all over. All the Chase banks, even in Queens. So yeah, maybe can the board send an official letter to the electeds to see what we could do?
I mean, they already have my name that I submitted complaints. So it's a
Marie, it's Mary O'Domerick. I'm going to bring this to the attention of the Congresswoman because the banks along Bedford Avenue are closed as well, and the signs is due to COVID. So that I will be speaking to her about it this weekend.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Mary, can you ask her if she can get the banks to set some kind of hours, especially during the first of the month when seniors have to go to the bank?
Yes, or at least alternate staffers so that one bank in the community or two banks are open on a rotating basis. To have them closed continuously is outrageous.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you need the community board's help on that, let us know, Mary.
Yeah, will do.
The
Thank you.
lines for the ATM machines is wrapped around the corner, and that's why all the money's running out so fast because they're not filling it up.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Maria. I had heard about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, is there anything else?
Madam Chair, you don't want to hear anything about the Marsha P. Johnson Art Advisory?
Got 3 minutes, Santa.
Sure, 2 minutes. Now, just very briefly, also because we can't share all the things that are happening before the request of a proposal, but something evident you understood from Leslie communication is going to be most likely to RPs, one and more monumental one, a sculpture inside the park. And then there is a mention about the gate. I had expressed during the committee meeting concern because there were conversation that could lead to obstruct the view of the park from the street. I believe that's something very, very important, for the community. We always battle historically to have access to a park, but also to have park visible for the street as the waterfront wasn't visible all the time. And definitely other concern is that whatever monument, whatever art will be there, that there should be something that will recognize the nature, will recognize the historic history of the site. And, and they were feeling, and maybe we'll have to officialize that more, they were feeling, they could let maybe, there were danger that may not happen exactly away. I believe those are very important things. The community has battled, for this aspect of the park, and I just want the board to be aware of that. And maybe we should later on write a communication. I mean, the committee is working greatly, it's on a stage where it's providing input, so a request for proposal will be in place, but it's important that request for proposal will include some language, will, make sure that these elements are recognized, or at least the element important for the community. But, visibility was one. I just want you to be aware. And we're gonna have another committee meeting. I don't know exactly when, I don't have the date here, but it's gonna be soon. So it may not be time to communicate again to you before the meeting. So that's all.
Thank you for the update, Santa.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add? Anybody else have anything they want to say? If all minds are clear?
Can I
meeting's
say
adjourned.
something, please?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm part of 3 meetings, and I don't know why we don't meet last year. So I would like all my 3 committees to please try to coordinate a meeting, because I don't know why we have those issues or why we have those committees and we don't meet. So I wanted to participate in a meeting. Thank you.
Did you say you're on 3 committees and none of them are meeting?
Well, I don't remember I don't receive the information for the meeting. I try to attend to 2 meetings for the attending committee and nobody attend. And I don't remember the last time that I received information for the education committee and also for the other one. So I don't know if it's that I don't receive the information, but
What's
I
the other
wanted to
one?
participate in the meeting.
What's the other
The
one?
other one is I believe it's housing.
Housing and public housing.
Yes.
Okay. We'll have to look back through the records, and those committees that's not meeting, we need to send them a letter and ask them to call a meeting as soon as
I
possible.
mean, I don't participate probably in a 3 meeting the whole year, and I think that's not right. So
Very good point. All committees should be meeting. Very good point.
thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else? Anybody else got a burning issue? No? Okay. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Be safe.
Happy
Good night. Be
birthday.
safe.
Wear your
night,
masks.
be
Everybody
safe.
wear your masks. Wear your masks. Good night.
Happy New Year. Be safe. Bye.
Thank you.